Let's talk about pronouns. The human brain and language. It's so complex. People with aphasia, that is to say, people who have experienced brain damage to the point that they can no longer communicate in their own language, can still curse in some cases because the reactive fuck can be stored in a different place in the brain than the rest of one's speech. Mel Blanc, the voice of most Looney Tunes for decades, once famously communicated from within a coma because though his brain wouldn't respond to input, Bugs Bunny's would. And Mel could answer questions as Bugs because the character was stored in a different part of his brain than his normal speech. And so it is with pronouns. I'm having difficulty with the pronouns of others, which is ironic as hell, I know, but here we are. As my own pronouns change on days where I'm leaning female, I start, and this is weird as hell, misgendering cis people, because the switch doesn't just flip for me in my brain for gender, for my gender. It flips the two extremes of them entirely. An oversimplified way of parsing this is, well, if I'm a woman today, women must be men and men must be women linguistically and vice versa. So call men women. And this is my brain attempting to reprogram itself from within a gender binary framework and bumping up against limitations and weaknesses. I have decided to rock the singular they because my just go by what I'm wearing edict that's existed from the moment I came out up to this point really doesn't cut it when I'm too afraid to ever leave my house as the myself that I am a good chunk of the time. So maybe I should just stop letting he, him pronouns slide on those days and stop being a coward, too afraid primarily of violent men caught up in toxic masculinity for my physical safety, and too afraid of emotionally violent cis women, TERFs, telling me I'll never be what I know I am. Maybe I should stop being a coward and insist on being a woman in public when I am, whether I look like it or not, or at the very least insist on they, them pronouns at all times. But I also understand how difficult this is for people, because even me, struggling with my own pronouns, am having a bit of a difficult time referring to others with the singular they. I know I can do it with enough practice. It took me years, but I eventually got rid of, in my own vocabulary, bitch and retarded, which are so entrenched in our language and still used so flippantly, much to my annoyance, but I did it. It just takes the desire to do so, some empathy, and some applied effort and time. It's a conundrum, though. It's how I want people to refer to me, and even I'm having trouble picking that up for other people, because this programming is so old and implemented in so many different parts of our brains linguistically, and the human brain does not operate on good intentions. Now, this is to say nothing of the "you're a man in a dress" faggot contingent who just willfully don't want to adapt or care. That's a different video for a different day. For people who do understand, who do want to get it right, even then it's super difficult. We've been wired linguistically to apply pronouns to a series of aesthetics. There's a reason I'm wearing a bra stuffed with washcloths right now. For the people not being willfully ignorant or mean, people who pass aesthetically as their true gender, the human brain seems to accept that a lot easier than those of us who don't. Who look to the pattern recognition portions of our brains like a woman with a beard or, in my case, a man in a dress. We exist for those people as a linguistic obstacle to overcome, myself included, both in giving and receiving. But that's probably why we should start now, really, and why I should ask people to do it and ask myself to get better at it. Because the sooner that we start to deprogram this, the sooner it leaves the mindful effort part of our brains and enters into the instinctual part of our brains, which, robbed of all language, can still say fuck when we stub our toes. So call me they, please, from now on. And if you're my friend, you have infinity chances to get this right. If I think you're still trying and not deliberately misgendering me to make me feel small. And just as important, don't apologize too much when you get it wrong. Just correct yourself and move on. This stuff is tough. And while you're having a hard time doing the emotional labor of reprogramming your pronouns, I'm having a hard time doing the emotional labor of taking care of you while you apologize. So let's just be cool to each other as we grow. And for those when asked your gender identity who identify as Apache helicopters or gorillas, know that all you're doing is bullying those of us for whom this is an actual thing. You're not George Carlin, okay? You're not a revolutionary championing the rights of those who need your help. You're Ricky Gervais. You're a hack. You're a high school bully gleefully raking in applause from those who just want to know that somebody, anybody, is beneath them. Your only comfort is knowing that somebody is beneath you and you can fucking do better. And for everybody else, thank you for listening and thank you for trying. Let's all train our brains and grow out of this programming together. For Subway Justice Warriors, I'm Joe. Thank you, everybody.